Hello everyone. In this video, we'll take a look at two-dimensional arrays. So, two-dimensional arrays can be thought of as arrays of arrays. Okay. So, normally, how would you define a one-dimensional array? Let's say you have one-dimensional array numbers, and you can initialize it like this. Let's say 1, 2, 3. So, this is a one-dimensional array. Now, you can say that 1, 2, 3, the numbers themselves, they are like zero-dimensional. And when you put them together as an array, it forms a one-dimensional array. Now, in case of two-dimensional array, we are putting the arrays one after the other like elements. So, for example, I can say that let's say 1 comma 1 comma 1, then let's say 2 comma 2 comma 2, and then let's say 3 comma 3 comma 3. So, this is like an array of arrays. As you can see, this is an array. But what are the elements of the array? They themselves are one-dimensional arrays, right? So this is a two-dimensional array. Now, if I run it like this, see what happens. I will get an error over here. And that error is because in case of one-dimensional array, we can skip the number of elements and it automatically becomes equal to number of elements in the array. But now think of this particular 2D array that we have created, the matrix. Again, we can skip the first bracket because first bracket is how many elements are there in this array. That is still variable, that is still dynamic. Just like here we need not specify 3, here also we need not specify anything, but we have to specify the second dimension of the second box. Okay, simple thing, you remember, one dimensional array, one pair of square brackets. Two dimensional array, two pairs of square brackets. One dimensional array, you can skip the size, number of elements you can initialize dynamically, and that becomes equal to the size. You can give the size over here. Similarly, in case of two-dimensional array, first bracket, first square bracket, the smallest dimension, you can skip because it is the number of elements. But the elements themselves are arrays over here. So that causes a slight problem because we have to specify whether the elements are just numbers or are they arrays of size 2 or size 3 or size 4. What are they exactly? So therefore we have to specify that in this case all our elements are arrays of size 3. So second dimension means what is the size of each element, what is the size of each array within our 2D array, right? So now the error will go. There is no error now, right? And there is no output as well because we have not printed anything. Now, how would you print the contents of a 2D array? How would you print the contents of a 1D array? Okay, so let's say if I say printing 1D array, then I will use a single for loop, right? And that single for loop will traverse through the array. Okay, the single for loop, the single variable I will take the value of the different indices. Indices vary from 0 to 2. So 0, 1 and 2, and we'll simply print numbers of I, right? We will print see out. We will see out numbers of I. Now, in case of 2D array, the difference is are elements themselves. So here the elements are this. Here the element themselves are arrays. So you need another loop. Okay, so for I equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. In the first iteration, it will try to print this entire array. In the second iteration, it will try to print this entire array. In the third iteration, it will try to print this entire array, right? But because this is an array, we'll again need a for loop for this because to print an array, you need a for loop just like we have used over here. Okay, and here we'll use another variable, let's say j, because we need both the variables. We cannot keep both as I. We need both the variables. Okay, so here we'll have matrix of ij. Got it? Now let's see the output. Printing the 1D array 1 2 3, printing the 2D array 1 1 1 2 2 2 3 3 3. Now let's say if I don't give these curly brackets, if I don't give this curly brackets, what happens? My program still runs fine. See, although we are using this 2D array and rows and columns kind of a thing, where as you can see, rows means basically, so as we had drawn the curly brackets, 1 1 1 is the first row, 2 2 2 is the second row, 3 3 3 is the third row. But now you will truly understand the meaning of what is row measure order. See, I have only listed 9 elements, and our computer memory, the RAM is not like, matrix is not created in a 2D manner on a RAM. On RAM, it is stored in this way only, 1 1 1 2 2 2 and 3 3 3. But logically, we are saying that this is a 2D array. And how do we decide that? That is decided based on the number of columns, the second dimension, the 3 that we have written over here, that decides logically like what are the number of columns. So, because I have mentioned 3 over here, that's why I have 1 1 1, 2 2 2, and 3 3 3. Now imagine instead of doing this, let's say I keep only this much, what will happen? I will have to change the number of rows over here because I'm doing all this manually. So it will work. What will happen if I, instead of doing this, do it like this? Now what will happen? How many rows are there now? Because see, if I write 3, how many rows are there? If I write 3, that means in a row measure order, it will take first 3 elements, make it the first row, and then it will take the next 3 elements and make it the second row, right? If I write 2 over here, then it will take only the first 2 elements and make it the first row, next 2 elements and make the second row, and the last 2 elements and make it the third row, right? So this completely depends on number of columns. So number of columns is very crucial to mention over here. I hope the basics were clear to you. If you have any doubts, don't hesitate to post them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.